Gentleman yields back. Anyone else wish to be recognized?
This is Gohmert. I'd like to be recognized.
You're recognized, sir.
Thank you. Uh, this is of such great concern. We have so much in the way of backlog for national forests, national parks, uh, Corps of Engineer lakes. There's so many problems, and I was just traveling with um, a very poor county's judge because two of my counties have a great deal of national forest. Others have some, but not to that extent. And one of the county judges had showed me back in the late 80s in the system that was set up when the local governments agreed to provide the land for national forests. They were going to get 25% of all of the revenue that came from harvesting the pine trees. They're a wonderfully renewable resource. The older they get, the less carbon they sequester. So it is great to have the cycle going. And unfortunately, the federal government isn't harvesting these renewable resources like they used to. So in the late 80s, when one year this rural county got 1.6 million as their 25%, a couple of years ago it was down to 64,000. And that's what they have for their schools and roads. It is just incredible the damage that the federal government is doing to these counties by reneging on the deal that was made when they provided all this acreage for the national forests in those counties. And I was traveling with a county judge and a couple of commissioners. Their county's being devastated even further, in addition to storm damage from this spring or back in February. And the Forest Service has blocked roads so that people cannot travel into the forest, so that it cannot draw economic benefit to the area. They are shutting down boat ramps on Lake Sam Rayburn, a huge lake there here in East Texas, and shutting them down to prevent further economic use and help for the area. And it's all because all of these, the roads, the boat ramps, everything is deteriorating, and the forests are getting worse. They're not being properly maintained. And it's all part of the massive backlog of maintenance and upkeep that need to be done. And I just can't understand why we couldn't have at least a temporary or partial respite in this massive spending, whether it's golf courses or whatever, until we start living up to the agreements that were made with these counties that have become extremely poor and have put people in desperate situations in these counties because they can't improve their situation because of what the national government, the federal government, is doing to them in not keeping their promises. So I appreciate very much my friend Congresswoman Bogert's amendment, and would encourage everybody to vote for it so that we can finally use some money for upkeep instead of uh, political payoffs. So I thank you for the time. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Anyone else wish to be recognized? Let me